Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, have named their starting quarterback, that being CJ Carr. A lot of people came out and thought that Kenny Minchey might be the guy, but it is CJ Carr that's going to get the first snaps against the University of Miami. Your thoughts on the situation?
My understanding of what happened with this, Kenny Minchey and CJ Carr were in a tight battle in the spring. Kenny Minchey had the better start to fall practices, and it looked like he was trending towards being the starter. Carr finished strong with the final scrimmage. And I think that for Notre Dame fans, I have a feeling you're going to agree with or disagree with a lot of these things I'm about to say. I think for Notre Dame fans, Carr finishing strong the way that he did, enough so that he was able to win the job, has a very positive angle to it. He was staring down the barrel. This is a redshirt freshman, and he was in danger of not starting this season. And he saw an opportunity that he had to step up for the occasion. Those are the types of guys you want a quarterback. It doesn't mean everything, but I think that there's something to be pulled from that, and it could mean his competitiveness showed up when it needed to. The other part with this, though, outside of just the performance aspect, I think the big reason why Carr ends up getting the job here is that if you started Kenny Minchey, who is an older player, but not by much eligibility, than CJ Carr, Carr would have transferred. Carr was a highly touted recruit. It would have been a waste of his time to sit. He would have been better off leaving and going somewhere else if he didn't start in his eyes. If he leaves and goes somewhere else and he's still young and he develops to the potential that everybody saw that he had and he does it somewhere else, coaching staff looks really dumb. I think that they thought they were both evenly matched and that Kenny was just a little bit more experienced, having been around the team longer, was why it was so close. But the long-term outlook of this, it makes more sense to go with CJ Carr in order to keep him in the mix and for the future of this program for hopefully the next 3 years.
Do you remember the conversation we had on Monday about this position battle?
Yes.
What did I say?
Well, off air or on air?
Let's not go off air. Let's go on air.
What did you say then?
What I said was, when a team, regardless of who your team is, when your team and the media or the fan base is assuming it's going to be one guy, when you don't come out immediately that next day or the Tuesday thereof and name somebody, that means that conversations behind closed doors are happening. Everything that you just said is not what we think happened. Joe, it's what happened. This happens every year. Now, we're not really going to dive into Missouri, but it's exactly what happened at Missouri, too. Notre Dame's just obviously a much more prolific program with more prolific quarterbacks that we don't monitor this. Joe, it happens everywhere. When you do not come out that Monday and name who your guy is, this was always inevitable. Now, if you remember on that Monday, I said, Joe, there's something brewing here because they keep posting clips of CJ Carr on Twitter and on Instagram. If he wasn't going to be the guy, they wouldn't have posted that. If it would have been Kenny Minchey, they would have posted Kenny Minchey. They were telling you what they wanted to tell you before anything ever, quote unquote, broke. Joe, here's what I know. Denbrock don't give two Rudy Poos who you are. The better quarterback's going to play, and apparently CJ Carr beat him out. If you go look on their social media, what they pushed out, we're not there. Joe, there were some elite freaking throws he made and a coverage against a really good secondary. When you're staring adversity in the face, I think you put it best here. When you're staring adversity in the face and you got to overcome it, you've always been Lloyd Carr's grandson. You've always been ultra talented. This is Notre Dame. This is D1 football. Like, nobody's going to give you shit. They don't care who you are. I think he did wind up winning it, and I don't think they're playing favorites. I will tell you this, and I know you're not going to like me saying this. The turnovers that everybody keeps reporting about, I don't give a shit if it's Notre Dame, LSU. I don't care who it is. It does worry me because I have always been of the belief. I did this to my own team a year ago, and we'll chronicleize this from the very beginning. So this isn't a shot at Notre Dame. I'm not a believer that practice doesn't translate to games. I don't believe that. If that is and was still the case, what did Minchey do? What did Carr do? Are they going to have turnover issues going in Miami week 1? And listen, you're going to have to let Carr ride this thing, pause. But you can't just freak out on every little thing that he does either.
Yeah. I get what you're saying there. I agree with the statement that you said. The way that things happen in practice absolutely translate to what happens in games. But I think that I'm not trying to take a shot at LSU here. There's a bit of a difference in turnovers that happened last year in practice for LSU, and their secondary was really bad. And for Notre Dame, when they've got the best outside corner tandem in the country and one of the best safety groups in college football.
I can go to 2019 when it happened with Burrow.
I'm just saying that
I get it.
I'm just saying that those challenges, it's problematic, and it only becomes problematic to me, Blake, if week 1 CJ Carr throws more than one interception. If that happens, then we can come back to this conversation and say, you know what? Yeah, those turnovers didn't eliminate themselves. If he doesn't turn the ball over, that to me is the proof of what I'm trying to get at here. Being challenged every single day helped prepare him, because the secondary he's seeing right now is better than the one he's going to face against Miami in week 1, and most of this, actually all of the schedule that he is going to face this entire year. So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt.
You can't do that. You can't do that. All right. You know what? Fine. You're gonna learn this lesson. I'm telling you, you can't do that, Joe. All right. You go right on it. Joe, there are still other really good secondaries on your schedule. Okay? Yeah. Turnovers are turnovers, and they're going to happen. The report came out that there were 6 literally a week ago between the both of them. 6 in one practice. I don't care if it's the 1993 Dallas Cowboys with primetime. I don't give two Rudy Poos who it is. Decision-making is decision-making. So here's the ultimate question going in the Miami game, which we'll have to kind of re-break that game down now that Carr's been named the starter. Joe, does it worry you that you've had this up and down seesaw of who you think it's going to be at quarterback if you're Notre Dame?
No, and I've said this a number of times when there wasn't really clarity and there was a little bit of a delay. I was expecting that the quarterback competition was going to be named on Sunday, or it was going to come out sometime on Monday, and it ends up coming out after the Julian Sayin announcement. I'm not worried because, again, I really think that this was a circumstance, one of the fewer circumstances where you had 2 guys that would have been quality, reliable starters. The 2 guys before Minchey and Carr were shaky and inconsistent. Riley Leonard was a very inconsistent passer. He did a lot of great things for Notre Dame to help them get to a national championship game, but he made a lot of silly mistakes, in particular against Northern Illinois. Sam Hartman had a lot of the same issues. Played one of his worst games in a must-win situation against Louisville. I think that at the very least with these 2 guys, that you're in a position where they were both on par with what you got out of Riley Leonard and Sam Hartman. It'll be to be determined, though, and I think that there is a hope and there should be a belief that Carr develops into one of the better quarterbacks in college football because he's ready to start this early. So, no, I'm not worried. I think good competition means something. I'd be worried if they didn't announce a starter. I'd be worried if they came into week 1 against Miami and they said, we're going to go 2 quarterbacks, because I watched Brian Kelly do that with Brandon Wimbush and DeShone Kizer, and it was a freaking mess. So as long as they picked somebody, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, and then the second guy wind up winning.
What do you mean when the Wimbush
Kizer winning the job?
I don't remember.
Yeah, remember Kizer
came well. I think he did.
Through, and if you remember, everybody, they went into Texas and lost the following year when Kizer was there. If you remember,
because Wimbush went to Florida.
Yeah.
No. Zaire. I'm not thinking. Wait. I'm mixing them up. It's Malik Zaire and DeShone Kizer, not Brandon Wimbush and DeShone Kizer. Yeah. Zaire transferred to Florida. That's who it was.
Right. So you get
bad quarterbacks.
Well, you get to a situation where, listen, if you're Miami, and the last thing I'll say on you, if you're Miami, you got to let Carr beat you through the air. You just got Jeremiah Love is the most important player on either team for this game. You got to let him beat you through the air. I mean, quite honestly, you got to go full Ohio State. You got to go bump and run on the outside and say, we're going to stack this box, and you're just going to have to beat us by throwing the football. That's it. It's as simple as that. I mean, I don't know if their game plan has – I mean, if I'm Miami, I can live with this kid coming in here and throwing the ball all over the place. What I can't live with, what I could not live with, would be allowing him and giving him cushion for easy throws.
The only thing, though, that I mean, the premise in itself is just typical how you prepare for a situation like this. But the only thing I'd say is circumstantially, you're coming in with a brand new secondary and a new defensive coordinator. So I don't know how much
but I got
they'll have in the creativity of how they're going to go after CJ Carr.
There's no creativity in bump and run man-to-man coverage.
Well, do we know that the current group is going to be able to win in one-on-one man
You've been hyping
coverage?
up that secondary all off season. Now that they're playing Notre Dame, you can't not.
No. I've been hyping up Corey Heatherman to be a great defensive coordinator to fix this situation and all the new faces eventually to gel. But week one, I'm not saying he sucks, but week one is a bit of a tall task to ask those guys to win in one-on-one coverage on the outside. If guys
combined with 70-plus starts don't know what bump and run man-to-man coverage is, then that entire defensive staff needs to be fired after week one.
That's not what I'm presenting. I'm merely presenting that it is a risk to go man coverage and to focus all of your attention in the box. It is. And to what your point is, if CJ Carr ends up being just like a little bit better than they anticipate he will be coming into this game, it ends up opening up Notre Dame's entire offense.
Do it. Fine. Adjust.
I dare him to. I dare him to.
You got way too much confidence. I don't have any confidence.
Hold on. That's not blind confidence.
The way it's coming off from you, okay, is that, all right, well, y'all do that, and he's going to light you up.
That's not what I just said, though. Hold on. But that's not what I just said.
You said
that's not what I said.
Offense. If it's opening up the offense, it means he's going to light him up.
No. But that is not what I just said. All I just said was that if he finds success in one-on-one situations and an improved receiver room starts to get open, if you're able to connect in those situations and all your attention is diverted into stopping the run, those pass plays end up being big chunk plays. They don't end up just being small little hiccups, and that is going to end up freeing up the rest of the offense. I didn't present that CJ Carr is going to light him up, and I don't want anyone to think that I said that. I just think with a bunch of new DBs, I think it's a little risky.
I'm starting to lean the Hurricanes.
Stop it.
No, I'm serious.
All right, well, you can pick them next week and when we do game picks.
I love getting you pissed off for no damn good reason. You will fight for Notre Dame. There's no doubt about it.